Hello everyone, this is Latha Akula. In this video we are going to study about tissue system. Till now we have studied about different types of tissues like parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. That is based on the type of the cells present in it. And now in this tissue system we will discuss about how the different types of tissues they associate and form a common tissue system, how different types of tissue systems they work, their functions and their locations will be studied in this topic tissue system. If we see the tissue system on basis of structure and location, there are three different types of tissue systems. The first one is epidermal tissue, second one is ground tissue, which is also called as fundamental tissue, and the third one is a vascular tissue or fascicular tissue or conducting tissue. The epidermal tissue, it is an outermost layer present in the roots and stems of the plants. And if we say the second one, ground tissue, it forms the main bulk of the plants. The total plant bulk is made by this ground tissue or the fundamental tissue. And third one is vascular or fascicular conducting tissue, that means which includes xylem and phloem. The first one, epidermal tissue. This epidermal tissue is the outermost layer, that means it is in direct contact with the external environment like the heat, cold, dryness, all those conditions will be, for all these conditions this epidermal tissue was in close contact with the external conditions. And if we study about the epidermal tissue, it again consists of three types of cells, three different structures. They are epidermal cells, and next one is epidermal structure, which includes stomata, and third one is epidermal appendages. If you see in roots, the epidermal appendages, they are root hair. If in stem, they are called as stem hair or trichomes are present. And the first one, epidermal cells. This epidermal cells, it is the outermost layer present in the plant. What we are touching the plant directly is nothing but the epidermal cells only, and they made up of a single layer or multi-layered. Single layer means they consist of only one layer, or in some plants such as the nerium and ficus, there are many layers are present. And this epidermal cells, they consist of living cells. So we have studied what is a living cell and what is a dead cell. The living cells, they consist of nucleus and a dense protoplasm is present. And the cells present in this epidermal cells, they are elongated cells. What type of the cells are present? They were elongated cells are present, and then they are made up of parenchymatous cells. What type of the cells are present in it? Parenchymatous cells means what? They consist of a big vacuole is present, which is surrounded by a peripheral cytoplasm. And then here these epidermal cells, they form the continuous layer, but sometimes in the leaves and in stems, the epidermal layers will be interrupted by structures called as stomata. Stomata were present. And outside of this epidermal layer, in some plants, they consist of a layer called as cuticle. What is present? Outside of the epidermis, in some plants, they consist of cuticle. This is a waxy coating. Actually, this cuticle is made up of a waxy substance called as cutin. The function of this cuticle is it prevents the loss of water from the plant. So it prevents the loss of water from the plant, and this cuticle was absent in root system and in hydrophytes. Actually, these roots are always continuously in contact with the water, and the hydrophytes are the plants which lives in the water only, so they need not require this cuticle. And in monocotyledons, they consist of a special type of cells present in the epidermal cells. They are called as bulliform cells. So about this bulliform cells we will study in the anatomy of the monocotyledon in detail. And this root epidermis is also called as epiplema or piliferous layer or rhizodermis. Another name for the root epidermis is epiplema or piliferous layer or rhizodermis. We can also call them as with these three names. And next one is the stomata. Here, these stomata, they are present in the epidermis of the leaves and stems also. But these are absent in the roots. In the root system, these stomata were absent, and this stomata, it consists of mainly two parts. They are two bean-shaped structures are present, which are called as guard cells, and inside the guard cells there is a central pore is present, which is called as stomatal pore or stomatal aperture. And if you see the structure of these guard cells' main function is they regulate the closing and opening of the stomata. So, what is the function of these guard cells? They regulate the stomata opening or closing. And if you see the guard cells, they consist of living cells. What about the cells? Dead cells or living cells? They consist of living cells, and they also consist of chloroplast. Chloroplasts were present in the guard cells. And how these guard cells, they regulate the closing and opening of the stomata? When the plant was in, it consists of sufficient amount of water, it was continuously supplied with water. In that condition, the plant need to eliminate some excess amount of the water present inside its body, and that condition, these guard cells, they will become turgid. Turgid means they were swollen with excess water. In that condition, in this turgid or swollen condition, the stomatal pore that opens and releases the excess water by means of the evaporation arm that will evaporate the water. And if the plant was suffering from the water loss condition, that means when the plant that did not getting the sufficient amount of water, and it was starving for the water, in that condition the plant need to store the little amount of water present in its body. So for that, the guard cells, they will become flaccid. Flaccid means they will be shrunken. In that condition, these stomatal pore will be closed. Instead of closing, if it opens the stomatal pore, what happens? Whatever the little amount of the water present inside the plant body, that will be lost by the evaporation and plant dies. And the next one is subsidiary cells. Here, these subsidiary cells are the specialized cells present around the guard cells. So see, these red color regions are present, no? Which are present around the guard cells, which are called as subsidiary cells. These subsidiary cells are also called as accessory cells. What is another name for them? Accessory cells. Their main function is they provide support. They give the support to the guard cells. And they do not have any chloroplast. Like guard cells, they do not have a chloroplast. The guard cells have the chloroplast, but whereas the subsidiary cells will not have any chloroplast. We say the stomatal pore, guard cells and subsidiary cells, totally three. Stomatal pore, guard cells and subsidiary cells, all these three together we can call them as accessory cells. What we can call them as? These three parts will be called as accessory cells. We see one more point I forget to tell. In most of the plants, the guard cells are, what is the shape of the guard cells? They were kidney shaped or bean shaped. But in monocots or in grass plants, these are dumbbell shaped. What is its shape? They were dumbbell shaped. The dumbbell shaped. And inside this, there is a central stomatal aperture is present. These two are the guard cells which are in dumbbell shape in the grass plants, and remaining dicots and plants, these guard cells are in bean shape only. And now, what is the function of this stomata? The main function of these stomata were they perform transpiration and gaseous exchange functions. Two main functions are performed by the stomata. One is the transpiration and second one is the gaseous exchange. Transpiration means what? The release of excess amount of the water from the plant body by means of this stomata is called as a transpiration by the process called as evaporation. By this process, the water get evaporated into the environment. That is transpiration. And another one is the exchange of gases. Here, the plant required carbon dioxide for its photosynthesis. At the same time, during the after photosynthesis, it releases oxygen. Right? The plant it gets carbon dioxide from the external environment, and whereas the plant, whatever the oxygen prepared, will be released out. That means gases exchange will take place by means of this stomata only. And next, if we see the dicot leaf, in the dicot leaves, there is a the leaf consists of lower surface and upper surface, right? The lower surface of the leaf that consists of more amount of the stomata when compared to the upper surface. So which surface consists of more amount of stomata in dicot leaves? The lower surface consists of the more stomata when compared to the upper surface. Whereas in monocot leaf, both upper surface and lower surface they consist of equal number of stomata. The number of stomata were equal in monocots, whereas the number of stomata differ in dicots. That is, lower surface consists of the more number of stomata, whereas the upper surface consists of very less amount of stomata were present. This is all about the epidermal cells and epidermal structure. What is the next one? Epidermal appendages. So in the previous video we have studied about epidermal cells and epidermal structures, that is stomata. In this video we are going to study about epidermal appendages. Here the epidermal appendages are nothing but the outgrowths which will develop from the external surface of the plant body, that is called as appendages. If these appendages are developed from the epidermal layer, that is called as epidermal appendages. Once again, what is an appendage? The outgrowth which will develop from the outer surface of the body, that is called appendage. And what is the meaning of the epidermal appendage? If the appendages that develop from the epidermis layer, that is called as epidermal appendages. Here, these appendages that develop from the roots and stems. From the roots, root hair will be developed as an appendages. From the stem hair or the trichomes are the appendages. We see the root hairs. The cells of these root hairs they develop from the cells of the epidermis only. From where they are developing? From the cells of the epidermis only, the root hairs will develop. And these are unicellular. These root hair, here from cell the root hair is developing. From each cell, from the single cell only, this root hair will developing. Hence, they are called as unicellular. And these are unicellular and they consist of cytoplasm and nucleus also. So these root hairs they also consist of cytoplasm and nucleus also present in it. And the functions of this root hair is they helps in the absorption of water and mineral salts from the soil. What is the function of the root hair? They helps in the absorption of water and mineral salts from the soil. And not only that, they increases the surface area of absorption also. What is the meaning of surface area of absorption? When the root hairs were developing vigorously, that root hairs will absorb more and more amount of water and mineral salts and increases the capacity of absorption. That is called as increases the surface area of absorption. Next, these are how these root hairs they get the water and mineral salts. How they absorb that? Because these root hairs they consist of thin walled structures. By means of these thin walled structures, water and mineral salts present in the soil they get diffused. They get diffused into the root hair. From that root hair they enter into the epidermal cells and from there to the different parts of the plant. And what is the meaning of diffusion? Diffusion is the movement of the molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration against the concentration gradient, that is called as diffusion. The next one is the trichome. Here, these trichomes are also the epidermal appendages, but they are developing from the stem. The stem hair or the stem epidermal appendages are also called as trichome. Here, these root hairs are unicellular, whereas these stem hairs or trichomes are the multicellular. That means they are not developed from the single cell like the root hair. They develop from the many cells. And in some they may be branched structures and in some they may be unbranched structures also. They may be soft hairy-like structures or sometimes they may be stiff structures also. And these trichomes, the function of these trichomes is They helps in the preventing the water loss due to the transpiration. We have studied that the transpiration by means of stomata, the transpiration occurs. Here, these trichomes, they cover these hairy, soft hairy structures. They cover the stomata or some evaporation surfaces and prevent the water loss. Not only that, they also block the flow of air across the plant body and helps in the preventing the water loss and preventing the drying of the plant also. And some of the trichomes, especially in the insectivorous plants, they will act as they will carry out a secretory function also. That means they secrete some sticky substances. By means of those sticky substances in insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants means what? The plants which feed on the insects are called as insectivorous plants. Here, in those insectivorous plants, some secretory substances will be released which are highly sticky. In those sticky surfaces, some insects get trapped. Those trapped insects will be absorbed by the plant and get the nourishment. Like that, there are some functions performed by the trichomes. And if you see the functions of the epidermal tissue, of course, till now we have studied so many functions, but in this we will summarize all them into one category. The first one is protection. Here, we have studied cuticle that covers the epidermal structure and helps in the preventing the loss of water, and not only that, that will also helps in the protecting the plant body. And trichome, these trichomes, they helps in the protecting the plant body and also prevent the water loss. And secretory function, we have studied here that some insectivorous plants, they are secretory in functions and releases sticky substances and to trap the insects, and finally they get nourishment. Gases exchange. As we have studied in stomata, the gases exchange, that is exchange of carbon dioxide, oxygen from the outside environment to the plant, from the plant into the environment, that is done by the stomata only. The next one is control of transpiration. Here, the several stomatal apparatus like guard cells. Those guard cells, they control the transpiration, right? And not only that, these trichomes also cover the stomatal apparatus and control the transpiration, and cuticle also prevent the loss of water, and hence that will also involve in the control of transpiration. Next, absorption of water. Here we have studied that these root hairs, they helps in the absorption of water and mineral salts. Here, these epidermal cells, they helps in the water and mineral salts from the soil by means of the root hairs. So this is about the epidermal cells or epidermis. And the next video we are going to study about the ground tissue. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel Latha Akula Biology Tutorial. If you want to suggest me anything, please comment below.